I'd like to call this special meeting of the Southwest Licking Board of Education to order. We have a special meeting here on February 29th. I will read the meeting notice. Notice of Board of Education Special Education Meeting, ORC 3313.16 and 121.22. In accordance with the Ohio Revised Code, notice is hereby given that a special meeting of the Southwest Licking Local District Board of Education, Fairfield and Licking Counties, Ohio, is scheduled to be held on Thursday, February 27, 2005 at 5:30. The special meeting will be held in the Southwest Licking Local Board of Education room. The purpose of the meetings are to award contracts and establish board committees. All right. I'd like to recognize our visitors at home watching, and if we could please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Jones, call the roll, please.
Mrs. Engel.
Here.
Mrs. Moore.
Here.
Mrs. Spindler. Mr. Ziny.
Here.
Mr. Vincent.
Here, a quorum is present. We shall continue. We need a motion to adopt the agenda.
So moved. Second.
Mr. Jones.
Mrs. Engel.
Yes.
Mrs. Moore.
Yes.
Mr. Ziny.
Yes.
Mr. Vincent.
Yes, the agenda is adopted. We'll move on to request to speak on agenda items. No one being present for that. We'll move on to our business items. First one is the Board Policy Committee. So I don't think we have a motion for that yet. We'll just start our discussion and then we'll make our motions.
Should we make a motion first and then
Okay.
discuss?
That's fine.
I can motion to establish a board policy committee.
Second.
Okay. All right. So as you guys can see here, we have kind of the parameters through this. So this committee will basically just be established to kind of give guidance to the full board when we vote on our board committees. This will be established through the board. The chairperson and members are named by the board president. The committee may make recommendations for the board, but may not act for the board unless specifically authorized. I and Dr. Perkins are ex officio members of the committee, and then this basically will just go until December when there may be a new board president here. So, with that said, do you guys have any ideas before we get this going? All right. Were you going to say something? Go ahead.
I think that once we establish who is on there, that Dr. Perkins has the authority to adjust based on specific topics and expertise of topics. I think, and that was thinking with employees. I think if we wish to add anybody within the district, not necessarily an employee, that it needs to be a unanimous vote for that person.
Okay. In my opinion, I feel as if this is a board committee set up for the board to have time to fully discuss policy prior to our meetings. So in my mind, I look at us as we are elected by this community to serve. And as a result of that, they voted for us to serve this. I don't know that we really need any community members, period, because this will, when the committee meets, it will be a public meeting. So
Correct.
if any member of the community wants to come in, they are welcome to come in and discuss and say what they need to say during that meeting. So My preference would be to just keep it board members with Dr. Perkins and Mr. Jones there, because we're not, basically it will just be a discussion. The only actions that I truly see this board doing is going into the meeting, so roll call to get in. We have a secretary taking notes, and then we will approve the minutes. And other than that, that's and making a recommendation. That's kind of where
I'm fine with that. I'm good.
Yeah, I'd like it to be, if, basically where, like what we do now, where there's if a presentation would be required, it would be Dr. Perkins as an
Perfect.
appropriate person or people to be the presentation.
Perfect.
If that makes sense.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
they can do that from.
because we have a lot, the employees here in this district, they have a lot of expertise in topics that we may not.
Right.
So we may want to garner their expertise. They won't be voting, but they'll be giving their thoughts on it, as the community will be able to. As I'm assuming once the committee meets, they can set up the parameters for what public participation would look like. Roger, do you have any ideas on this?
No,
Okay.
brand new to me, so
All right.
I have no
So we don't really, other than I will be establishing the committee. So my recommendation, or I guess it's not even recommendation. It's I would name all 5 board members to this committee. I also would add Dr. Perkins and Mr. Jones to this committee, knowing that the 5 of us are duly elected by our peers in this community, but also that the community will have voice through being able to come to the committee meetings and publicly participate that way. But I also, once the committee meets, then, they'll be able to discuss their parameters. But there are some months where we don't have policy discussions. I don't think there needs to be a standing monthly meeting
No.
unless you guys,
No.
It's as the policies would come up.
No.
that
At
we
least
would-
quarterly, because we have quarterly updates, right?
Correct.
and then updates will be posted, or meeting notices will be posted at least 24 hours
At least, yep.
that a meeting will occur. And then I'm assuming agendas can go on
Yeah,
board
we're
docs?
gonna use board docs, yes.
Okay,
Yep.
We can still use board docs.
all right. So for this committee, I guess the other thing that we kind of need to figure out is what is a quorum for this?
Attorney recommend the majority of the members. So at least the 7, so at least 4 have to be there.
Okay. So 4 have to be there.
Okay.
That would make sense to me.
Yep.
Okay. And again, I want to stress that this policy committee is not making policy. It is recommending policy to the board to discuss at a full board meeting at our regular monthly meeting. Does everyone feel the parameters are adequately set, or
I do.
any other input? Okay, with that said, I would like to name Vice President Moore as the chairperson of the committee,
Okay.
because I do have to name a chairperson. So,
Okay.
and then I'm assuming,
I was gonna say, can Mr. Jones then be the note taker? Would you-
Yeah, I'll do that.
do you
Yep.
want to do that,
Oh,
or
yeah,
we
I
could
have no
have?
problem
I
doing
could bring Lena as well.
Lena could be there
I
too.
think
We
that
can
would be
just do
better.
both, yeah.
I think Lena would, that way he can focus on,
Yeah, that'd be
Okay.
he
good.
can just take notes.
Okay.
All right, then we'll have Nina do the notes, and then those notes will be presented at the next meeting for that committee to approve. And again, the public will be able to come to these meetings. They will be able to speak once the committee meets to talk about public participation. Yeah.
Would this be something you had an interest in streaming like we do board meetings, or is this something you're not interested in?
I'm not sure yet where these meetings will occur, or anything like that, and that's something that the committee could decide.
Okay, if they do decide they need to stream, obviously this would be the ideal space, but I can make whatever you guys need work for.
Okay,
Sorry.
all right. Are we good? Roger, are you good?
Yep.
All right.
Ready to vote?
Yeah, I was just thinking, well, I guess when the committee meets, when you guys meet, you can decide the parameters for public participation.
You know what, we could go ahead, since we can vote in this particular meeting for things, I don't know why, or we could go ahead and just say the public speaking is the same for this committee as it is for a full board meeting. That is, you can sign up ahead of time.
Well, yeah, I would be okay with like what we do now. You can sign up ahead of time. Like, not ahead of time, but when you come in,
Correct.
the 5
That's
minutes
right, the 5 minutes, yeah,
before.
yeah.
But because sometimes we don't know when the policy committee may show up. I don't know that people could give the 72 hours to get their name put on the agenda type thing.
No, exactly. I was talking about the walking in, but you need to be here, ahead of time. You can only get
5 minutes before the meeting,
Yeah, correct.
and then you get your 5 minutes to speak.
Are we going to limit it to agenda items?
And limited to agenda items.
Correct.
And then I'm assuming if the chair or whomever has questions throughout the meeting, they can ask as they see fit, whomever, because we may have our district people here too, and whoever in the community may or may not be here. Does that parameter sound okay to everybody? Roger?
It's good.
All right.
I think we maybe have a caveat that if we're going through the policy committee meeting and we realize that we missed something, we make a recommendation back to this board to add a different parameter or adjust.
Because ultimately, this board at our regular meeting makes the
Makes the rules,
policy
yes.
regardless
Correct.
of whatever.
Correct.
All right, good. Everyone else good? All right, Mr. Jones, let's call the roll.
Mrs. Engel,
Yes.
Mrs. Moore,
Yes.
Mr. Ziny,
Yes.
Mr. Vincent.
Yes, we have established that policy committee. And then finally, we need to move on to 4A, miscellaneous projects.
Motion approval 4A?
Second?
Mr. Jones.
Included on agenda is the bid results for the various miscellaneous projects, which include the right turn lane, improvements. Let's see how they worded it for sure. So basically site improvements, which includes the soccer fields, redoing the varsity field and installing a practice field, restrooms for the athletic fields or over by the baseball, softball fields, and some exterior siding on the Watkins Middle School because of water seepage into the building. So a few bidders, there's like 4 different options, A, B. Each one of these different things was a separate lineup, A, B, C, D. We only had 2 that bid do all 4 of them, and then like 2 that just did part of it. So the recommendation is to go with Summit Construction, who was the apparent low bidder. Gar Miller met with them this morning, and they are satisfied that they have everything included in their pricing. And then we did talk to Dr. Perkins, and we decided on the various alternates that are left. The big one being the sod for the practice field. We'll hopefully ensure that's ready for the spring, this coming fall practice season. So that'd definitely be a good thing. So this is coming out of basically the $5 million the board previously The right turn lane, we already had 500,000 set aside for it, so basically when we're done, we still have about 1.2 million left for hopefully the parking lot where the old middle school is. And we are advertising that starting March 5th. And the architect had an estimate of 900 and a little over, less under $1 million is the cost for the alternate, so for the new parking lot.
So the money
hopefully-
is there for
So
that.
hopefully the money will be there, definitely be there to do that, which is a high priority for Dr. Perkins and everybody to get that parking lot done, because
Yeah,
she
before
might
our
lose her
fall-
mind because of this grass there, so.
Yeah, before our fall sports season. And two things, Will, are you done, Rick? I'm
Nope,
gonna add.
yep, go ahead.
Two things I just wanted to add on just for the reminder for the public's knowledge, the right turn lane, as well as the restroom for athletic fields where we currently have porta potties are both being required by us to do so. That's obviously not a district decision, not that either is bad. The restrooms will be a nice facility for that, but that's two things that we're being required to put in.
Okay, so,
How close are we to the old middle school coming down?
That's part of the,
Yeah, hopefully this spring,
Okay.
we're bidding the 5th, the 12th, and
I think
19th.
May's our goal.
So basically, of May, it start. It shouldn't take,
And then once that's down, we'll have already awarded the contract for the
Yeah,
parking lot, or is that?
the
all
idea
the
is going to be
same?
one bid. Yes.
Okay.
So whoever does that, we'll also put the parking lot
Parking
in.
lot, okay.
Yeah, the goal is all of that done, so when we start our fall sports season, parking's done, old building's
Nice.
gone.
Okay.
So as long as everything goes as planned, which we know sometimes doesn't always happen. but
right,
that's what we're
but the
hoping for.
county has freed up for the building to
Yes.
come down. We
Yes.
finally got that.
Yes, that wasn't, the issue was between the grass versus the asphalt. That was the sticking point, but I think we're good now. Good.
Fantastic.
So base bid will be grass, but the alternate
Yes.
for asphalt.
All right.
And the intention is to go with the alternate. So that's good.
So with new goal nets, will the old goal nets still, will they go to the practice field then?
It just depends if they can be repurposed. I don't know the condition of them.
Okay. And then the fencing, 6 foot high, that will go all the way around.
Go
Will
around both the practice field and the varsity field.
Okay, is the fencing that's there now, that'll just be torn down then?
Yeah, because I
'Cause
think.
I know just from being there, it's.
Yeah, that's not,
Yeah.
those fields are not
Cumbersome.
in great condition, yeah.
And then irrigation piping, that will be for both the actual,
I think it's mainly for the varsity field. I'm not, from what I read
Correct.
about it, it talked about the current is not big enough for the volume of water they want
Okay.
to push. So
but we do have water access there.
Yeah, there will be a need to drill another well a little
Okay.
deeper.
Okay.
We did talk to Ryan DeMay, and he did a calculation using city water versus build another, dig another well. It was like a 4.2-year payback if we dug another well, so it made more sense to do that is to try to get the volume of water we need for both practice fields.
Okay, and then the additional sidewalk to the baseball field, is that just coming from the restroom area, is that?
Yes, exactly. Restroom up to where the kind of bleachers area
Yeah,
is.
it would just
Okay.
be nice to have additional
Yeah.
accessibility for,
Right.
right.
Okay. A couple other things that are kind of part of this project as well. I know we discussed putting in windows into the baseball
That's right,
area
that's-
to have
That's not
concession.
part of this project, it's being
Oh,
taken care of.
Okay,
Yep,
all right. And then what was the batting cages, that concrete, has that been poured yet?
I don't know, it's not done by
Yeah,
us,
that's
it's
not-
done by the boosters.
the boosters.
Oh, that's right, that's,
Yep.
I have too many meetings.
Yeah, there's too much stuff going on.
We're good,
yeah.
okay.
I know they've been working on it, but I don't know if the concrete's.
The other piece that I have that kind of indirectly or directly relates to the project too, I know that when this construction starts, well, never mind, we're good.
There will need to be some coordination between Summit and Pepper.
We're already working on that.
Yeah, and then Bob's working on, Mr. Janelle's working on getting that ahead, have them talking so everybody knows what's going on.
Okay, yeah, and well, that kind of brings up what I was thinking. I know the parking back there is going to be a mess, kind of for the baseball season, so I was hoping maybe we'd have some golf carts or something available for the handicap.
And there will still be some handicap parking maintained.
Okay.
And we're working on all of that. Yeah, we've already
Fantastic.
been talking about it, and we will make sure that
Okay.
people that cannot walk from across the street will have the ability to get to those games.
Just from going to
Yes.
booster meetings, that's been some of the
Yep,
discussion that's come up, so
Yeah,
I,
you can share that we will make sure that happens.
all right. Thank you. Any other questions? All right, I'll be quiet now and we'll vote. Go ahead, Mr. Jones.
Mrs. Moore,
Yes.
Mrs. Engel, Mr. Ziny,
yes.
Mr. Vincent.
Yes, we have approved those projects. Let's move on to adjournment.
Motion adjournment.
Second.
Mr. Jones.
Mrs. Moore,
Yes.
Mrs. Engel,
Yes.
Mr. Ziny,
Yes.
Mr. Vincent.
Yes, we are adjourned at 5:56.